Thank you, Jim. Jim Banks just raised some very serious questions that should be answered by the January 6th Commission, but they're not. And they're not for a very specific reason, and that's because Nancy Pelosi doesn't want those questions to be answered. In fact, she took the unprecedented step of kicking Jim Banks and Jim Jordan off of the January 6th committee because they were going to ask those questions that a lot of people would like the answers to. So when you hear them talking about it's all about getting to the truth, if they really believed in getting to the truth, they would have kept Jim Banks and Jim Jordan on the committee to ask those questions and get the truth. But that's not what this has been about. Never was to Nancy Pelosi. It was always about politics. And if there was any doubt that it was about politics, Nancy Pelosi removed that doubt when she took the unprecedented step of kicking the Republicans off of the committee that Leader McCarthy had appointed. And so it begs the question, as we go around the country, as I go around my district, we're all being asked the same questions. The questions our constituents are asking is, what is Congress going to do to help alleviate the problems that are hurting families in South Louisiana, all across the country? What are they going to do to lower inflation, to lower gas prices, to secure America's border? That's the questions families are asking me and my colleagues around the country. I was just on the floor a few minutes ago and asked Leader Hoyer if he would bring up a bill that we have. House Republicans have put together a broad package of legislation to lower gas prices. And they refuse, Nancy Pelosi and all of her minions refuse to bring bills like that to the floor. And so as you're watching tonight, however many watch, I think it's important to note what primetime lineup is not included by Nancy Pelosi. Is Nancy Pelosi going to hold a primetime hearing on inflation? I'd sure like to see that. I think a lot of Americans would. Is Nancy Pelosi going to hold a primetime hearing on lowering gas prices? They've refused to so far. They won't even bring a bill to the floor that will lower gas prices, and everybody knows what needs to happen to lower gas prices. Because just 2 years ago, we were paying about $2 a gallon at the pump, and today we're paying way more than double that. In many places, well over $5 a gallon, when we know the answer. And it's not Joe Biden going to Saudi Arabia and begging OPEC, begging monopolies, begging dictators, begging Putin to produce more oil, when the oil we need to secure America's energy security as well as our economic security is right here beneath our feet. We've got the energy here. And by the way, we produce it cleaner than anywhere else in the world. And so whatever his carbon footprint is going to be to go to fly to Saudi Arabia to talk about saving the planet by asking them to produce energy because he's beholden to the radical left who don't want to produce energy in America, why don't we have a hearing on that? Why don't we have a hearing on the border crisis? We could maybe invite Vice President Kamala Harris, who Joe Biden put in charge of it. She's yet to go to the border. This crisis is not just at our southern border. It's touching every community in America. The fentanyl that's killing thousands of young kids every single year, that fentanyl's coming across our southern border because Joe Biden has turned operational control of America's border over to drug cartels. Where's that hearing? Baby formula. There was just a report yesterday that came out that said Joe Biden's FDA knew last year that there was going to be a crisis with baby formula. He didn't even have an FDA commissioner until just a few months ago. He went a whole year without an FDA commissioner, and you wonder why the FDA was a rudderless ship under Joe Biden. Why don't we have a hearing on that during prime time? Of course, we know that this has always been about politics. Tonight, you're going to see it's about politics. And most importantly, the questions that Jim Banks raised are not going to be asked tonight and should be. And with that, I want to bring up our conference chair, Elise Stefanik.